Max Verstappen's dominance in Formula One has been nearly untouchable for the past 4 seasons. But according to former F1 driver Ralf Schumacher, the era of Red Bull's supremacy may be on the verge of collapse. Schumacher's assessment isn't just a casual opinion, it's a stark warning that Verstappen's reign is in serious jeopardy. With rivals closing in and Red Bull showing signs of vulnerability, could this be the season where the 4-time world champion finally loses his grip on the title? Red Bull's stronghold on the sport has been built on the foundation of technical excellence, strategic precision, and Verstappen's sheer brilliance behind the wheel. However, cracks started to show in the latter half of last season. While the Dutchman still clinched the title, it wasn't without its challenges. McLaren emerged as a real force, Ferrari significantly improved, and Mercedes, despite an underwhelming season, wasn't entirely out of the conversation. Schumacher's comments don't come from a place of blind speculation. He has seen the trajectory of dominant teams before. He witnessed Michael Schumacher's Ferrari dynasty rise and fall. He saw how Mercedes ruled the hybrid era, only to be dethroned when Red Bull found a breakthrough. The lesson is clear: no team stays at the top forever. The 2024 season saw Red Bull storm out of the gates with a commanding lead, but by the latter half of the year, their advantage dwindled. McLaren's Lando Norris began consistently challenging Verstappen. Ferrari's Charles Leclerc and Carlos Sainz were frequently in the mix, and Red Bull's performance inconsistencies became a glaring concern. Verstappen managed to outpace his competition, but it was evident that the walls were closing in. Schumacher's warning isn't just about Verstappen, it's about Red Bull's inability to adapt to the shifting landscape of Formula One's technical regulations. He points out that Red Bull couldn't handle the car in the latter stages of the 2024 season. For a team that has long prided itself on aerodynamic superiority, that statement is chilling. It suggests that their once unassailable lead in engineering might be slipping away. The challenge for Red Bull in 2025 is not just keeping up with the competition, but also dealing with the internal pressure and uncertainty surrounding Verstappen's future. Rumors have been swirling about his potential departure, with Mercedes reportedly interested in securing his services. If Red Bull's performance stumbles, could Verstappen be tempted to seek a new challenge elsewhere? The threat from McLaren is particularly ominous. Once a team struggling to stay relevant, McLaren has re-emerged as a true powerhouse. Their improvements in aerodynamics, tire management, and cornering speed have made them arguably the most well-rounded challenger to Red Bull. Norris has grown into a formidable competitor, and Oscar Piastri has demonstrated raw speed and racecraft that could make him a serious threat in the coming years. Schumacher specifically highlights McLaren's ability to improve their front-end grip, which was once a significant weakness. Now, with their front axle improvements, they have a car capable of matching or even surpassing Red Bull in key areas. Ferrari, too, has been quietly refining its weaponry. After years of inconsistency, strategic blunders, and underperformance, the team seems to have turned a corner. Their straight-line speed has always been impressive, but their Achilles heel was tire degradation and cornering efficiency. Schumacher hints that those weaknesses have been addressed, making them a real danger to Red Bull's title aspirations. For Verstappen, 2025 might be his most grueling test yet. He has proven time and again that he can extract the maximum from a car, outperforming its limitations when necessary. But even the best drivers need machinery that can support their ambitions. If Red Bull struggles early in the season, Verstappen will find himself in a situation he hasn't encountered in years, chasing rather than leading. And then there's the question of team dynamics. Red Bull has thrived with a clear #1 driver in Verstappen, but if the car is no longer dominant, Liam Lawson's role becomes even more crucial. Can Red Bull afford to rely on a single driver to carry the team? If Lawson fails to provide consistent support, or if intra-team tensions rise, Red Bull's entire structure could begin to crumble. Schumacher's assertion that Verstappen has no chance isn't an exaggeration meant to stir controversy. It's a genuine concern based on historical patterns in Formula One. When dominant teams begin to falter, the fall is often swift and brutal. Mercedes went from an 8-year championship winning streak to being just another contender within 2 seasons. Could Red Bull suffer a similar fate? The preseason tests have only fueled the uncertainty. While Red Bull still appears strong, they no longer look untouchable. McLaren and Ferrari have shown promising developments, and there's a lingering sense that this could be the most unpredictable season in years. One of the most intriguing aspects of Schumacher's statement is the psychological impact it could have on Verstappen. He has built a reputation as a ruthless, unshakable competitor. But what happens when he faces the reality of not having the best car on the grid? Will he double down and fight harder, or will frustration start to creep in? And more importantly, if he sees Red Bull losing its edge, will he start seriously considering his future with the team? As the 2025 season approaches, the tension is palpable. Red Bull, once the undisputed leader, now finds itself in a precarious position. McLaren and Ferrari are poised to strike, and Verstappen's future remains a looming question mark. The opening races will be critical. If Red Bull struggles out of the gate, Schumacher's warning will feel prophetic. If McLaren and Ferrari capitalize on their momentum, Verstappen could be in for his toughest season yet. And if Mercedes, quietly lurking in the shadows, finds a way to return to the front, the championship battle could become even more chaotic. There's no doubt that Verstappen has the skill to overcome adversity. He has defied expectations before, pushing beyond the limits of his car and dominating even when conditions were less than ideal. But Formula One is not just about individual brilliance, it's about the machinery, the team, the strategy, and the momentum. Schumacher's words serve as a chilling reminder that nothing lasts forever in F1. Dominance is fleeting, teams rise and teams fall, and if Red Bull is on the verge of decline, Verstappen might soon face a reality he hasn't encountered in years, fighting from behind, struggling to keep up, and realizing that his era of supremacy might be coming to an end. If Verstappen indeed faces a season where he's no longer in control, the psychological shift could be monumental. The Dutchman has always thrived on aggression, on pushing the boundaries of his car and his rivals. But what happens when those risks no longer pay off? When he's no longer dictating the pace, but rather responding to the movements of Norris, Leclerc, and perhaps even a resurgent Mercedes? And then there's the issue of Verstappen's temperament. He has never been one to accept defeat lightly. When things don't go his way, frustration seeps in. We've seen flashes of that before. Radio outbursts, aggressive on-track maneuvers, moments where his composure teeters on the edge. If he finds himself in an inferior car, forced to fight for scraps rather than control races from the front, how will he react? For Red Bull, the consequences of losing Verstappen go beyond just this season. He is their anchor, their centerpiece. If he begins to doubt the team's ability to provide him with a title-winning car, the allure of Mercedes, or even a shock move to Ferrari, could become too tempting to ignore. And if Red Bull loses Verstappen, they don't just lose their best driver, they lose the identity that has defined their dominance. Meanwhile, McLaren and Ferrari have every reason to believe that 2025 is their year. McLaren, with Andrea Stella at the helm, has built a team that no longer settles for being best of the rest. Ferrari, under Fred Vasseur's leadership, has transformed from a team plagued by strategy blunders into a calculated, hungry force. Both teams have spent years playing catch-up to Red Bull. Now they sense weakness, and they will not hesitate to strike. As the first few races unfold, the true power dynamics will become clear. If Verstappen struggles, the headlines will be relentless. The scrutiny will intensify. Every mistake, every miscalculation will be magnified. And if he finds himself trailing Norris, Leclerc, or even his longtime rival Hamilton in a new team Ferrari, the questions will only grow louder. Is this the end of Verstappen's dominance? The battle for 2025 is more than just a championship fight. It's a power shift in Formula One, and for the first time in years, Verstappen might find himself in the one position he dreads the most, chasing shadows instead of casting them. Do you think Max Verstappen can defy the odds heads and prove Ralf Schumacher wrong? Or is this truly the beginning of the end for his dominance? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the shifting tides of Formula One, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss an update on the biggest stories in motorsport.